name is Stefan. I'm the lead installer here at Royal Stamp and Sign Company. I'm also in charge of social media. Today I'm going to show you how to remove vinyl from different surfaces, including windows, which is what we're going to start with. Some tools you might need are a pair of gloves, just for safety. If you're using a scraper, you don't want to cut yourself, so wear some gloves. Regular scraper, which you can get anywhere, any hardware store really, dollar store even. Windex or any kind of window washing fluid. A knife or a blade, you might not need this, but could come in handy. Safety glasses, I think are very important. When you're using the blade and you're removing anything, there's always a chance that these scrapers can snap, anything can go flying, hit you in the eye, and also the vinyl tends to, especially when it's older, tends to break off in tiny little pieces and kind of go flying all over the place, and you don't want that in your eye. So safety glasses are a great idea. Of course, paper towel just to clean up, and lighter fluid actually to get any leftover residue which you may have can sometimes come in handy. Okay, so we'll get started. Let's roll. Okay, so first one we're going to start with is just the address and phone number up here. Removing this type of vinyl decal is actually probably the easiest out of any of them. There's smaller pieces if you have lots of them. If it's on a window, it's really easy because you can just scrape it off. One thing you want to make sure of though is a lot of windows, especially if they're facing outdoors, will have a tint on it, which is not always obvious. So what you want to do is, to make sure you're not scratching that tint off, is just find a kind of an inconspicuous place on the window and just do a little scratch test. If you just take your scraper, your blade, and just check it there, if it doesn't leave a scratch, it should be good. If you're good to go, next step would be to get Windex. Just spray it, make sure it's full coverage. Basically take the scraper and go at it just like that. Letters should remove fairly easily, depending how old the vinyl, how old it is, how long it's been up there. It may, may be a little bit harder, may leave more residue in behind. So basically that's all you do, just keep going. Now if you're left with any residue afterwards, it doesn't look like we have much, but if you are, you can again spray a little bit more Windex, and if you just use your scraper, it should be able to lift, and you use a paper towel, wipe it up, and you're done. Fairly simple. Okay, so next what I'm going to show you is more kind of a solid decal removal. These are a little bit tougher just because it's more coverage, obviously. It's harder to get at with a scraper. It doesn't always want to go, and you'll kind of get your scraper jammed in there. So there are a couple of options for this. If it's on glass, you can use a scraper, but your best bet would probably be to start off by taking a blade, a sharp blade, and cutting it in smaller, more manageable strips. This makes life a little bit easier. And when you're at this point, you can either use a scraper, get under it, and then just peel it off. And then any residue that's left over afterwards, again, just like you did before, Windex, scraper, it'll come right off. The other option you have with decals like this is not your best option, but if it's something that's been up there for a really long time, it's fairly large, and it's really sticking to a window, heat will often do the trick. So if you have a heat gun or a hair dryer, you can heat it up, not too hot, just get it warm, and it'll start peeling a lot easier. The only problem with using heat is that you are at risk of cracking your windows, especially if it's colder weather climate and it's an outdoor window or an area that has cooler air running and you're using heat on it. It has happened to me before. Trust me, you don't want this to happen. You're heating it up and all of a sudden big crack comes from right out of the edge there and the whole window's done for. So just use caution if you're going to use heat to remove that, but it does work great. It is an option. Okay, next I'm going to cover removing decals from something other than glass. So painted surfaces like a door, wood, drywall, really anything that is not glass basically. With these, there is always a risk of removing the paint. There's not much you can do about that. It's just, if you have something applied to paint, paint might come off. It's just the way it is, so you might have to repaint. But the easiest way to do this is first just test it. If it seems to come off easily, you can just go ahead and peel it. Now if you get some resistance and it's really not coming off well, or you do start noticing paint is coming off, you might be able to stop it and get it off a little bit easier is to use a heat gun in this instance, or blow dryer works great as well. So just want to heat it up. Not too hot. You're just basically heating up the glue. Once you get it, you should be able to peel back a corner and it'll come off nice and smoothly. Hopefully not removing any paint off your door, wall, surface, wood, or anything. Now, you can, in this instance, if there had been lots of residue left over, an option is to use lighter fluid. Now, of course, lighter fluid is flammable. You want to be careful. So you don't want to be using the lighter fluid and then taking your heat gun and heating it up. But you can use lighter fluid in minimal quantities on a paper towel, just a little bit on a paper towel, and if you just wipe it, it'll gradually start loosening up all that residue and remove it. It works great. You just have to use caution. After you're done using the lighter fluid, always wipe it up, just to be safe. Take some Windex and clean the rest of it off. Thanks for watching. Make sure to visit us at royalstamp.ca to see more of our blog posts with great useful information just like this video right here. Also, you can visit us on Twitter at Royal Edmonton, and of course YouTube, same thing, see the rest of our videos, YouTube /Royal Edmonton. Thank you.